Chairman Thomas, Vice Chair Ferguson, Ranking Member Humphrey, members of the committee, I'd like to thank you again for allowing us to speak on House Joint Resolution 2, which I believe is an imperative resolution urging Congress to call for that convention of states or a constitutional convention under Article 5 of our own U.S. Constitution. Standing here as a member who served over 30 years, having sworn allegiance to the United States Constitution, I can tell you that it is broken in a few different ways that the government has facilitated. This would allow us to focus on three main issues that will facilitate the conversation in our own state, and it will also, first and foremost, support a balanced budget. It will limit the power and jurisdiction of the federal government and finally establish the necessary term limits that I believe that we need for federal legislators. If passed in Ohio, the resolution encourages more states around the country to join an effort in reining the federal government and offering more power of that back to the states. I sponsored House Joint Resolution 2 as I found it baffling how our elected officials at the U.S. level have for decades been incapable of balancing a budget that over time has progressively gotten worse. This accountability is important when it comes to decisions made about budgets and spending, as our citizens and taxpayers are directly impacted on a state and local monetary level. And those poor decisions and government overreach and regulations can stunt and even cripple business growth and economic development for our state and our nation. As elected officials in our state, it's our responsibility to take this initiative into our own hands if the federal government refuses to do so on their own terms. Next, the resolution is a tool for our state to urge Congress to introduce amendments for term limits to the Constitution. The democratic system of government was established to promote freedom through election by its citizens. And as time progresses, we see history repeating itself with more of the same federal officials in office. And the current system has established career politicians whose greed has been on display for over the past several years, certainly. And I believe that we need to limit the power of large overreaching government and break up the ties of elected officials to the legislative branch and its stakeholders through term limits. Representative McClain and I found it necessary to expand the concept further through House Joint Resolution 2, promoting the conversations in Ohio about limiting power and restricting jurisdiction, creating fiscal boundaries, and establishing term limits. As the founding fathers of our country created this path for the states to reclaim their power in anticipation of this kind of overreach. This was implemented for the purpose of reining in the federal government. Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution provides the states, us, the power to call a convention of states or a constitutional convention to propose such amendments so that we can retain our power in our states. This resolution joins Ohio with numerous additional states, as my colleagues already mentioned, and nearly 20 of them are attempting to manage the federal government's control in the same way. I want to thank Representative McClain deeply for his leadership, continuing leadership in sponsoring the resolution and spearheading what is now a nationwide campaign in our own great state for the last several years. Thank you for your consideration for House Joint Resolution 2, and we're happy to attempt to answer any questions you might have.